This city is located in Europe, but it doesn't feel like Europe. We're gonna find out in this video. Let's take a look at the modern Minsk. Minsk is the capital and the largest city of Belarus with a population of 2 million people, making it the 11th most populous city in Europe. Minsk has a convenient location at the crossroads of Russia, Ukraine, Poland and the Baltic states. As you would expect, Minsk is the largest industrial center of the country. Unlike many other Soviet cities, Minsk was not heavily industrialized in the 1990s, and today about 40% of the workforce is still employed in the manufacturing sector. There are numerous tractor, automobile and diesel engine plants within the city limits. Over 70% of the produced goods are exported mostly to Russia, making Belarus very dependent on Russia in many ways. According to Nambia, the average salary in Minsk is about $450, which may seem little, but it's way above the Belarus average of $150. The income gap between the capital city and the rest of the country is obvious. The IT industry in Belarus has grown substantially in the last decade. Minsk is one of the least expensive cities to live in. Combine that with modest salaries and good internet access and you have a very good spot for setting up an internet company. Startup culture has a very strong base in Minsk, but because Belarus still lacks a legal background for a functional venture financing of startups, the funding is usually found outside of the country, so many small projects started by local teams are oftentimes then bought by foreign investors. Good examples are Vibermaps.me, MSQRD and Juno. Lots of people from other ex-USSR republics are surprised when they come to Minsk for the first time because roads are such good quality, and they were not expecting to see that Minsk has an extensive public transportation system: buses, electric buses, trams and subway. All of them are actually manufactured locally. School children can use public transportation for free, and now they have electronic timetables at the bus stops just like in Europe. Minsk Metro consists of 2 lines and 29 stations. The third one is under construction and is expected to open around 22,011 metro stations have public bathrooms, something you don't find in Moscow and many other cities. The people of Minsk seem to be friendly and peaceful. I never witnessed a single fight or people screaming at each other in public. Car drivers remember to stop before the pedestrian crossing by the way when talking to locals. If you want to be polite, remember the country name is Belarus, not Belarusia or White Russia. Locals take it personally. Minsk has many colleges and universities, more than 200,000 students altogether. There are indeed a lot of beautiful girls here, so stereotypes exist for a reason. There is no migrant workers here. Belarus has no clear policy to encourage labor migration. Moreover, bureaucratic procedures such as work permit are extremely difficult to obtain, so all the janitors, gardeners and taxi drivers in the city are local residents. Some people find this idea amazing and some call it discrimination. I don't see any problem with it. And what do you think? I've come across quite a number of foreigners on the streets of Minsk. Let's see what they think about the city who look like tourists. How do you like it in Minsk? You're from UK, Ireland. Okay, we've been so lucky with the weather balloon. Just making a short video at the same time. Fortunately, even Sterling from Santa Barbara, California, and we've been in the city for a day now. It's fantastic. Exploring means we had kind of no impression this is not a city known for kind of tourism for American tourism, and so it's very nice. Streets are very clean, great condition, architecture fantastic. We've been walking around at the metro, has great experience, saw the victory. Pray that was great as well. I just had a really good time here and it impressed us is probably the best way to put it, but I would recommend it for course a crisis map. No, the amenities are there, everything. It's got me wondering, is it comfortable for foreigners to be in Minsk? Do they speak English in Minsk? Well, let's find out. Excuse me, do you speak English? I'm trying to find a place where I can exchange some money. I have American dollars in local money. Which one seems like it went well? What are the advantages of living in Minsk? Bike trails. Trust me, this is a bike-friendly city. There are bike trails in many parts of town, and I'm talking about good quality lawn trails where you can actually enjoy the scenery while riding through the many green parts of the city, especially along the beautiful Swiss lush river. It's a green city and there's no shortage of parks here. The parks are meticulously maintained and you'll rarely find locals cut in across the grass for a shortcut. Minsk is clean, and I'm not exaggerating. The capital of Belarus has been named among the 3 cleanest cities in the world according to a rating compiled by the Street Digital Financial Media Company. During the Second World War, 85% of the city's buildings and entire infrastructure were destroyed, and therefore everything had to be rebuilt from scratch. So it was rebuilt at a time when cars were already a popular means of transportation, so wide roads were planned, given Minsk an advantage over those cities built at the time when horse carriages were a conventional means of transportation, and today the city is lucky enough to have wide roads in the very center, and traffic jams is not really a thing here. You can get from one part of Minsk to another in just 30 minutes, and you're not gonna have a problem leaving the city. Got off work on a nice summer day, great, you'll be chillin' at Judea in the magical Belarusian countryside in no time. That city's so close to other European cities, it's just 2.5 hours to get to Vilnius by train or by car. The city feels incredibly safe. Minsk is one of the safest cities of the ex-USSR countries. There's a strong police presence everywhere, especially in the center. In addition to that, President Lukashenko recently proposed to involve the military in patrolling the city streets. Considering that Minsk is such a heavily policed city, is it even possible for its residents to get together in protest and demand something? Possible, yes, but it comes with consequences. After all, Belarus is not nicknamed the last dictatorship in Europe for nothing. Comes as no surprise that young people I talked to saw no economic prospects in today's Belarus, and no chances for political change in the foreseen future. As Minsk a good place to visit? Yes, in recent years large hotel chains such as Hilton, Marriott and Novotel have come to the city. Why do people want to go to Minsk? Well, first of all, out of curiosity, and haven't heard a lot of accolades from France. What are some of the sights of the city? The central avenues of Minsk are a showcase of Stalinist architecture, including avenues designed for tank parades. The architecture is majestic and frightening at the same time. The main city street is Independence Avenue. It's a 15-kilometer long wide road crossing Minsk from southwest to northeast lit into Independence Square, one of the largest squares in Europe. Lumino of this iconic square are massive KGB headquarters and the neo-Romanesque Red Church. Other sides include National Academic Grand Opera and Ballet Theatre, the Gate of Minsk on Privity Island Square, monumental towers in the style of Stalin Empire style. Surprisingly, the gambling business and Minsk as well developed, learning that Russians banned all casinos in Moscow. Minsk did not want to miss an opportunity of getting some rich Moscow high rollers, and now there are as many as 30 casinos in the city. Take a walk along the Trinity Hill on this village bank where many street musicians perform in the evening, creating an enchanting atmosphere. That Trinity Hill is the oldest surviving district of Minsk. This historic neighborhood sprawls along the left bank of this village river. The National Library is quite a unique building. It's a 23-story building in the form of rhombocubic octahedron. What a word! The Palace of Independence is the residence of President Lukashenko, and to get a great view of the city, go to Hotel Belarus. They have an observation deck on top outside of the city. Make sure you visit the Agensky Palace. Nests, fish and mere palaces are great places to explore old Belarus and great parks at the same time. You can spend a whole day in those beautiful places. Try some local Belarusian food like potato pancakes, Johnny Key, and some local beer. There is strict regulation on dairy products, fruit and vegetables and meat, so you can be sure the quality of the local products is good. Those who haven't been to Minsk in a while think of Minsk as a working-class city where people work hard to make ends meet. While this may be partially true, people everywhere are going after material wealth, and Minsk is no exception here. Today in Minsk you can see expensive sports cars and expensive urban and suburban real estate. New modern residential complexes are being built. How much is an apartment in Minsk, for example? And this apartment complex, a two-bedroom apartment, will cost you $150,000, and the average price per square meter in the city is $1,200. Not exactly cheap. Nightlife is not something Minsk is famous for. After 12 p.m. most parts of the city are quiet, but you can definitely find some places to relax, drink some beer and dance and get to know some people. Namita Street is one of the centers of nightlife. Also, it's a good idea to walk along Zapotskaya Street. At nighttime it's always crowded and full of bars and happy people. After 9 p.m. it turns into a local Broadway. What are some of the downsides of Minsk? The city has a lot of large industrial enterprises and they continue to operate within the city, and the number of cars is constantly growing, so it all affects the environment. Many international brands are still not available in Minsk, such as Starbucks, IKEA and many others. What do I think about Minsk? Minsk seems to be a clean in a comfortable city with friendly people to kind of say that you want to come back to. And what do you guys think about Minsk? Thank you and stay tuned, all tourist attractions related for you.